What's going on, everybody? I want to talk about a knife. Wait, did you click the right link? Because I thought it said Spyderco, and some people say all I do is Benchmade. So make sure you click the right link. I'm just messing with you. It is a Spyderco review. I do review a lot of Benchmades because I'm left-handed, and to me, it's the most ambidextrous-friendly knife with the axis lock and everything else. So I am going to do talk about a Spyderco. This one's pretty unique because it doesn't have a Spyderco hole on it, which is kind of weird. I want to show you that. It's not a friggin' Spyderco. I'm just messing with you guys. I got dad jokes today. I got dad jokes. So, let's get serious here. I want to talk about this knife. This is the Spyderco Military. It came out in the early 1990s. Apparently, somebody approached the founder of Spyderco, Sal Glesser, and said, if you were to carry a knife overseas with the military, right, that's a big selling point, military, what would you carry or what would you make? And this is what he produced. So it's pretty cool. They have a Spyderco Police and then they have a Spyderco Military. There are definite differences between the two, but today I'm going to talk about the military. So apparently this is the knife that he came up with. It has a S30V steel now, which is great. It's great steel. You got the trademark hole here, 14 millimeter, I believe, Spyderco hole, which makes it very ambidextrous for southpaws like me. And if you're wearing gloves, it actually is pretty easy to open with gloves. That's important to some people, okay? So this knife was produced in Golden, Colorado, USA, planet Earth. I think that's funny they put that on there, but anyway. Overall, very, very cool knife. My buddy actually gave me this. I've been sharpening knives because I acquired the Wicked Edge system. I think this was the Pro Pack 1. I've already bought some new stones and ceramics and stuff like that. Bought a GP Knives in Troy, Illinois, and I'm trying to learn more about it. There is a lot to sharpening knives. It's not just about grinding metal, right? It's a lot about geometry. There's also science behind it, and there's also correct progressions and incorrect progressions when you're sharpening. So I took this knife for, like I said, my buddy's wife, and I put an edge on it, and whoa. So I'm kind of having fun with the mirror polish edge. I think it looks really cool. I was never able to do it before, but now that I have the Wicked Edge, I can a little bit easier. It still takes some work, especially with S30V. This knife had the factory grind on it, which was a pretty coarse grind. It wasn't totally dull, but it needed some help, right? And I went ahead and found the edge. So, did you see the way I open that? Is that like a sin or something for Spyderco? So, I clamped this in the Wicked Edge. I put permanent marker on the edge here. I'm not going to go into all the technique. Take a really light stone, 1,000 degrees, 1,000 grit, and then I went along and found that this edge here is at 15 degrees from the factory. So I just stayed with 15 degrees. I do believe the serrations here, I thought they were at 18 degrees. I thought I read that somewhere. And the police and military are different. This is the military, and this is 15 degrees, which with the flat grind, it makes for a very, very sharp edge. This edge is not perfect. Although it looks very, very shiny, there are imperfections in it, and I'm trying to learn more about that. Maybe it's just not enough patience when I'm sharpening. You know, I'm not sure, but I'm learning. And right now, I am sharpening knives for free. Hopefully you guys can see that. Very, very sharp. Okay, that's all you need to see. I don't need to cut paper all night. I think you guys get the point. You know, you could shave hair easily. I did, actually, earlier on my wrist. It's a very, very sharp knife. Okay, so this is what he came out with. This became one of the flagship knives for Spyderco and is still around today. This knife has not seen a lot of changes. A lot of their knives, like just say the paramilitary, you know, there's a 1, 2, 3, there might be a 4, I don't know. I don't really follow Spyderco to a T, but this is the military and that's it. You know what I mean? So are there ways to improve this knife? 100%. But first, let's just see what we're looking at. Like I said, you know, I think medium-sized hands. This is a very, very large knife. Okay, and this is a woman carrying this, which is fine. She carries it for protection. And if somebody pulled that knife out, I might think twice about it, you know, depending on what I had. But I think it is kind of an intimidating knife. Like if you're pulling this out in the office to cut boxes, it can scare some people, I think. You know, you hear the word murdery. I think, you know, people kind of get scared of knives. And I'm not saying don't carry knives because of that. Definitely carry them. That's their problem. This is just a knife. It's just a tool. But because it's matte black, right, it's dangerous, you know, and it's only for the military. But anyway, I'm not going to get into those things. So let's see what we're looking at, guys. Let's get to the point here. 9.5 inches overall. Very, very large. The blade is 4 inches and the cutting edge is 3.69. The handle is 5.5 inches. So if you do have big hands, I think it would be great. The person that owns this knife is actually very small, not big at all, but you know, it's still comfortable and it's ergonomic. So I don't think that's an issue at all. You know, there is a hunk of metal on here actually, that S30V. It's a 0.16 inches at the thickest, I guess, and then it tapers down to this razor sharp flat ground edge right here. So, which is typical of the Spyderco design, right? They call this a clip point or a modified clip point, and I do like the flat grind. I think it makes a heck of a slicer, honestly. It's a Cerakoted blade, which I like. It's not real shiny. And like I said, I just stuck with 15 degrees, and it's a razor blade. It has G10 handles, of course, which make it very light. You know, this knife weighs 4.2 ounces. For the size, that's pretty good. Let's compare it to some other Spyderco knives. This is the Resilience, which is a very large knife. The Resilience is made in China, not in USA. I've done a review on this, and I've done a review on the Tenacious. Okay, so the Resilience is 9.37 inches, has a 4.25 inch blade, even bigger. The steel is lower quality. It's 8 CR13 MOV, and it's a whopping 5.4 ounces compared to the military's 4.2, 5.4. Why is that? It's pretty simple. That's why. Right? Completely reinforced liners all the way around, which I love. I would rather have a little bit more weight and an overbuilt, robust knife. Same thing here. You know, the Tenacious is not a large knife. I think it's 4-inch blade. I'm pretty sure. I'm sorry, the blade is 3.38 inches. It's 4 ounces. So this still has some weight to it, but you have those liners all the way around, which I'm a fan of. I like that. But, you know, this has better steel. I don't know. It goes both ways. So that's just a comparison with some other Spydercos. They're a little bit cheaper, and they are from China. So one thing, I'm not sure if you guys saw or not, let me bring these back out. Obviously, the pocket clip is going to be on a different side because I'm left-handed. But with that being said, you know, here is what I prefer. I prefer a tip-up carry, and I prefer it on, if you're holding it here, it would be on the right side. So that's how it fits in my pocket. The blade is against the outside of my pocket, And then when I stick my hand in my pocket, it would be this one, then there's no chance of hitting the blade or anything like that. Okay? Tip up, left-handed. So this is tip down, which I usually do not prefer. So when I carried this for like a day around the house and stuff like that, I had this in my pocket, which I'm away from the blade, which is great, but it's tipped down, and that's not my preference. And there is no option to change that. So if you don't like it, get a different model. I mean, it's as simple as that. Here is a lanyard hole, if you're into that. I usually do not have lanyards. So the pocket clips look very similar, right? Very similar design. I like how they incorporate the lanyard hole in with this pocket clip. I think that's cool. But they just didn't do that on this one. So there's no option. So not a whole lot of flexibility there. Would that keep me from carrying this knife? No. I think it's still a really awesome knife. You know, honestly, if we're talking military, police, or whatever, I don't like this point. I don't like it to go that small. I have a, I have a feeling I'm gonna break it. So, I like the spear point or drop point. So, I just like this shape better because I feel like I'm gonna break that. That's all. So, not being critical, just being honest, I guess, of why I would not want to carry that knife into war. There are some other options with this knife. You can get titanium scales, which is of course going to increase the price, but probably also increase the strength. And I'm not sure what those weigh. You can get this G10 in like a digital camo that looks kind of cool. They also make this knife with a satin finish, like the other knives there, and that's okay, but I do like the matte black. So like a lot of the Benchmade knives I have are an M4, so they go ahead and coat it. And this is a Cerakote. I think Spyderco called it a blade coat, but I like it. You have the jimping right here, which feels great. It's not uncomfortable, so you have a ramp. So if you are piercing or cutting, it feels really, really good in your hand. I love my thumb right there. I think that's cool. They have jimping on the liner, because this is a liner lock. You can see it is cut into the G10. It's inlaid, which I like. And I do like the jimping on that liner lock there. Some people are critical of a liner lock, and they call it a military knife. I think it's very strong, and I don't think there's any chance of that thing breaking unless you are doing something crazy, which in war, you probably would do something crazy. But in the early 1990s, I think it was a good option. The police model does have a lock right here, lockback blade, but this one did not. So overall, I'm impressed with the knife. I really, really like it. Kind of grateful for the opportunity that people are giving me knives to sharpen for free, so I can learn on their personal knives. So I do try to put a lot of time and attention into them, and then you get to see different knives that you may or may not buy. This, although the opening is very ambi friendly, the pocket clip is not. So I would carry this knife. I'm not sure at this point if I would buy one, because there's other options out there that are ambi friendly. But overall, very, very cool knife. So hope you guys enjoyed that. Please hit subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Send to your family and friends, or if somebody likes knives, go ahead and send them the video, especially if they like Spyderco. That's my take on the Spyderco military. I appreciate you guys watching. Have a great night.